Okay, let's open up Motion. We're going to make a snipe. And we're just going to make a random snipe. Does that sound like fun? When you start up Motion, you have all these different categories that you can choose. Okay, there's all these different kinds of things that I can create, but all of these effect, transition, generator, and title, they all affect Final Cut Pro. So we're not going to use any of those. Motion project, the way a snipe works is it's all self-contained within a motion project. It's 10 seconds long, so we make sure that's there. Frame rate should always be this. This should never change. The preset is where we can actually make a snipe. And what happens is if you look at the size, it becomes 1920 by 300 as opposed to regular broadcast HD, which is 1920 by 1080. I'm going to go 1920 by 300 and we're going to hit open. And we get this lovely window. Okay. The other thing I need to do is open up in the Finder. I need to find Snipe safe screen.tga. There's a ton of files, but once I see Snipe safe screen guides.tga, I can drag it and drop it into here, and then I will have a guide for snipes. Guide. And I'll name this group guides, and I'll make a couple more copies. So I'll have a nice strong guide. Now, this window for some reason is always set to 100%, and that drives me nuts. It never fits the window in. It never fits the whole project inside this window. So if you come up here and click on the arrow next to 100 and hit fit, it will do that. And then if you click here, you can make a transparent background so that you can actually see your guides and see what's going on. Okay, so I can close this layer. If I'm to grab a logo and put a logo in here, there's certain files that it has to be, and I'm going to show several different logo elements. Let's find
Gyroscope, yeah.
Finley.png.
That's the name of it. A gyroscope. Those things are amazing.
They are. Let's not use that. Okay, this one's got an alpha channel. See how I can move it around? You can see the background is transparent. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drop it into this area, and I'll have a new Finley Chevrolet logo, and see how it's transparent. That's what I want. I want it to be transparent. Now I'm going to find something else and show you the difference. We'll use this one. This one will work. Notice how this one has a white background instead. It's not transparent. That's because it's a JPEG file, and JPEG files do not support transparency. This is why I say please don't send me JPEG files. Instead, send me PNG files, or send me TIFF files, or Photoshop files, so that I can use the transparency. Alright. So I just wanted to do that to show a JPEG file and why they suck. They have their purposes. I'm going to grab a PSD file. We'll grab this one. 3 to 6 days. Sure, that'll work. PSD files are layered files. They're completely different than any other kind of file. And because they're layered, they bring this option when you bring them into your project. You can import all layers, import merge layers, or choose a layer. If you were to choose a layer, it would bring up this little window and show you all the layers you can pick. Maybe we shouldn't have used this one, but we'll use it anyway. Let's do all layers. Now, this is your group for your single picture. It's a lot. If I were to turn certain parts of it off or certain parts of it on, you'll see new things pop in there. Pay attention right here. You can see that I'm turning on and off the different areas. So let's say I want Telemundo Las Vegas. T Las Vegas, right there. There we are. Okay, this is a Photoshop file, so it has a bunch of layers. They're great because you can do animations to separate layers. You can move different parts around and do whatever you want with those parts, and then make them all come back to the middle, or however you want to do it. Get away from there. So for example, this one, I can move that around. This layer, this is, what is that? I don't even know what that is. These are pieces of clouds, so you can animate each piece separately. So you want Photoshop files if you're going to animate pieces like that into one composite. But we're going to use Motion to do our compositing for us. Okay. I want some text. I'm going to click this little guy right here. It's my text tool. And then I can click in here and start typing. Can't see it because it doesn't have a black background, so we're going to select it all and change the color so that we can see it just for the heck of it. Style, color, here's my colors. I'm going to pick red. Now we can see it. I hate that font. Okay, in your inspector you have, for each item you have properties, behaviors, filters, and then you'll have image or text depending on what kind of element you're using. So in the case of Finley Chevrolet, I've got image, but in the case of this text that I wrote, it'll say text. And inside the text, you have your format, your style, and your layout. Your format is your sizing and your fonts. That looks pretty cool. We'll keep that for now. Your sizing, your fonts, your line spacing, your tracking. Come on, move the tracking. So on and so forth. You have lots of different things. You can even change the slant of the letters. Woo! And then in style, you have your colors for your outlines. If you want to make a white outline around it. Your glow. This makes kind of a fuzzy stuff as an outline. It's kind of fun to play with. And drop shadow. This drop shadows the entire text. So there's our type. It looks awful, but I don't care. And then your layout. I've never actually messed with layout, but there's ways to mess with it. It has to do with your type on, settings. So you can make it type on and off. Okay, now we're going to put a background, just a plain simple rectangle. Here's your rectangle tool. You just come in here and make a rectangle. Boom, it's done. But I hate it because it's not pretty colors. So I'm going to click on the color for the fill, change it to light blue. On the outline, I don't want an outline, but you can change all the different things on here. I'll turn it off. You can also change the feathering in each direction. Fall off has to do with the feathering. The opacity of how transparent it is. And if you want to change it from just a single color to a gradient, you can do that. And in here, if you click on this little arrow right here, it lets you change your colors. Pick where it starts and ends, and you also have a whole bunch of really nice presets. If you change your start and end, you get different angles. When you're working with a gradient, this bottom area is the colors. If you click on a little square, you can change the color to whatever color you want. And adjusting the position, adjust the position of the color in the gradient. Now if you notice there's a little arrow in between, adjusting the position of that adjusts the fade between the two colors. If you put it right at 50, it's in the middle. Pink is ugly. Let's put a different color. Give me a different color. Blue. I like that. Alright. Now you notice my rectangle is in the front of everything because it's not in the back of everything. Layers go in order from lowest to highest. Highest is up front, lowest is in the back. Okay, now remember I told you this is colors. This up here is your opacity. You can make a gradient fade according to the different areas. So if I want this to be more faded in the middle, but my edge to not be faded, see how it does that? Let's bring that up. Let's bring this up to high opacity and bring these down to low opacity. Alright, so there we go. So now we've got a rectangle, a graphic, and text. Sounds like fun! But we need this snipe to move. Snipes are no fun if they just pop in and pop out. Just go boom, I'm on, boom, I'm off, like this. All of a sudden you see da da da. No, that ain't gonna work. We need it to move. Now I always do my animations backwards. And by that I mean I like to, this is my ending point right now. We're going to figure out how to get this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, let's make it take 1.5 seconds. Right there. Alright. We're going to make this rectangle slide up from the bottom. Alright. So we're going to go into properties. Now this properties is where I can make the opacity of the entire object. I can make it move, whatever I want it to do physically through time and space. Behaviors are preset things, filters are like special effects, and the shape in this case is what we see here. Geometry adjusts the actual shape of the object. Okay, properties. I'm going to make it slide from the bottom. This is only a positioning, so I'm going to put a keyframe here. Finley Chevrolet. Let's make it zoom out and slam in here. This is going to be another one. Properties, keyframe on position, and keyframe on scale. The text, we're going to do something completely different with the text. Okay, so I've got my ending. Now I go to the beginning, and I'm going to say, this is how I want it to start. I've already added a keyframe earlier, so I don't have to now, but I can, just for safety. But if I adjust the position of Y, it will go down. You notice this red line. This red line is saying starts here and ends there. The arrow kind of points in the direction it's going. Shows the keyframes. This one we're going to zoom. We'll do that by using scale and position. And then when we put them together, okay. Text is a little interesting. We're going to use a behavior for it because they're much more fun. You can easily animate every single letter without having to go through and animate every single letter separately. So I'm going to select here. I'm going to go to my library and I'm going to go to behaviors. And then I'll come down here to text sequence and I'm going to pick one. Let's do energetic. And let's grab hop in. Let's see what it looks like. It shows you here. No, that sucks. Inflate in. Ooh. Pop that in there. Uh-oh, it's longer than 115. 15. So we'll shorten it. Done. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, ending. This is also kind of backwards, but forwards in time. I'm going to select both of those because you can do animations on several things at a time. Position on that. We will change position and scale on this. And what that'll do is it'll keep them all the same. Now, I have to put this keyframe here. The reason is if I don't put a keyframe here, it will animate from this point all the way to the end. And you don't want it to come in and then slowly go out for 9 seconds. So now we're going to go here and we're going to add the key points. Let's make this one go this way now and get huge. Just for fun. And the rectangle, we'll make it slide off this way. Alright, and the text, we're going to add another behavior. The reverse. Inflate out. There's a problem. It's way up here. We don't want that. So let's make it shorter. Move it to the end. There we go. We got a snipe. Alright, feel free to play with all those settings and do whatever the heck you want. Play with it, but just remember to start with a keyframe here and have an ending keyframe here and then do your animations out after those points. Okay, final piece. Guide goes off. Alright, you don't want to export that and have the watermark there or have the guides there. That would be really annoying. You would slap yourself in the face all the time if you did that. Okay, we're going to share this. Now there's some specific things we have to do. We share, we export using compressor settings. It's very important because you can't have the settings properly if you don't do that. The codec we're going to use is animation, but we're not going to use this particular setting. The reason is because this, if you look at the summary, 1920 by 1080 and our snipe is 1920 by 300. What we're going to do is change it to snipes. Now if you notice it's 1920 by 300, but it still uses the animation codec. Okay, options, we don't want it to open. Render, this is extremely important. You have to have it say color plus alpha right here. Without it, you will not get the transparency. This will be black, solid black. You will not be able to see through it at all. Pre-multiply alpha, it's important to turn this off. What happens is, when you have this on, it acts as if this is black, and it will make a black ridge around everything, even with the alpha channel. And it will look terrible. So if you turn this off, it will use whatever color is here to make the outline. And it looks really, really weird when you play it in QuickTime Player, but it looks amazing on the air. I'll show you an example. Okay, there we go. Perfect example. Pause. See that big yellow stuff? It looks horrible. But when it goes on the air, it looks awesome. Because this is all transparent, faded to here. This you won't even really see on the edge. It'll be completely faded off. Okay. You have to pick the Snipes codec. Pre-multiply alpha goes off, color plus alpha goes on. These don't matter. If you change a lot of these, like render quality to best, fields on, motion blur on, it will slow the rendering down to a crawl. You can use them, it'll make it look better, but it will slow the rendering down to a crawl. So only use them if you have a lot of time. You hit next, comes up with the name. Testing this silly thing. Put it wherever you want. Spot transfers is fine. Save. And your batch monitor will come up, or your share monitor will come up. You'll see it under this computer, and you'll see it start processing the snipe. Alright, so that's done. Quit that. Now, we don't need this anymore. I'm not even going to save it. Alright, it's time to connect to Overture, and it's time to bring that snipe over and build it in Overture. This is the name of the computer for Overture. You should have a setting for it. If you were to go to the File menu and go Open Recent Connection, you should see one under Overture. There's one on my computer and there's one on the master control computer. Okay, so when you get that up, you hit connect. It'll give you a message and say, are you sure you want to connect? Say connect. And it will bring this up. Hit OK. It should automatically log in. Alright. If you click on the start menu and go to computer, you will see a whole bunch of disks. Now, you have to do this from the computer you made the snipe on, or it will not work. If you go to Ang S1, this is, I made the snipe on my edit computer, which is called Ang, and this is System Disk 1, so it's called Ang System. Click on it, brings up all my stuff. Spot transfers is located in users, me old, desktop, spot transfers. If I sort by date modified, I see testing this silly thing, and I can drag it and drop it into this folder here called Snipe Videos. Okay, it's copied over there. Now, I'm going to open up the Overture Media Designer. This lets me make snipes, but I've already made the snipe. Okay, object, add video clip, and I pick the one I want. And you know what? For some reason, it always comes up on the top, so I just grab it and drag it to the bottom. Okay, now here comes the really important stuff. That's done. That's easy, no problem. You have to go to compiler As long as this is selected, you'll see the name of the file that you're going to output, which is this, because you can import several different items into a overture item. So I'm going to give it a number, 99. They go to 64, so I know this will never air. Enter. Okay. Now I hit this, build project. This will ask me if I want to save it. Yes. 99, save. If it's an old one, it will erase it. Now it compiles the Snipe as a video. Okay, it's done. We hit escape, close it, and guess what? We're done. Master Control will do the rest. They will open this up, and they'll see over here, they will see 99 or whatever you want, whatever they call it, and they'll drag it and put it in here, and it will be ready to air as a Snipe. So we're done. Not that bad. Now, your imagination is the part that takes the extra time. Thank you for watching.